Bueno, ¿qué hubo pues, gente? Estamos nuevamente por fin en otro episodio de Vamos a Pillarlo. Esta vez estamos con Alona. Bueno, el episodio de hoy va a ser un poco curioso, por lo que pues estamos como un poquito en la naturaleza, estamos pues como tratando de estar tranquilos porque buscaba un lugar donde vamos a hablar sobre un tema muy raro, muy importante también, que es para mí el tiempo, ¿vale? Bueno, básicamente un poquito de introducción, tercer episodio. En esta oportunidad pues va a ser en inglés, voy a hablar totalmente toda la conversación en inglés con Alona, porque bueno, Alona pues está aprendiendo inglés, está aprendiendo español, entonces también quiero que el resto de los episodios no solo se limiten a una audiencia en inglés o en español, sino también seguir explorando idiomas, y pues es algo que siempre me ha gustado, así que vamos a empezar, vamos a hablar. Obviamente les voy a tratar de dejar los subtítulos en español para los que todavía les cuesta un poquito, y pues nada, espero que todo esté bien. Tampoco tengo mucho control de la cámara, está un poquito re lejos, pero también el escenario está muy lindo, así que pues nada. So thank you so much for being here. Like, for me, I really appreciate it. I know that for you it's kind of weird being here. Like, it's not common for you being like in front of a camera talking, like being recorded, as you told me. But well, I bring you here first of all because since I met you, for me you were a person that have these deep thoughts, and I like it. I like your perception about the world, about even though it's not the same as mine, because we come from different parts of the of the earth. Like, she's from Ukraine, so our culture is different. We don't speak the same language, so our perception is completely different. But it's something that I really like, because I told you guys since the beginning that I don't want to the people that are here in front of me, I don't want them to tell me the things that I want to hear. I just want their perception, even though I like it or no. So or if I agree or no, it's not like that. But the picture that we choose for this opportunity, it's an old picture. So you guys, you will see it like here in the beginning, and it's an old picture, and as I mentioned in the beginning, it's about time. So first of all, let's start with the first question. If you have any questions about the picture, what inspired or whatever. So
Yeah, first of all, thank you for having me here. And about the picture, I wanted to know whether it was a conscious decision to take this picture and to make it in black and white. Because if it was, let's say, not in black and white, but like colorful, and there would be a different perception. But because it's in black and white, for example, for me, it makes some kind of, I don't know, different feelings to arise, feelings about maybe some lost opportunities, something like whether I'm using my time wisely and so on. But I think if the picture was like in colorful, like those like colors, maybe I would think about some like kind of memorable moments in my life and something like.
okay.
So was it a conscious decision?
Yes, every time when I take a picture, I'm aware of the colors that I want to show up. And in regards time, even though it's black and white, let me say that maybe for me it's not that bad that it's in black and white. For me, it doesn't express anything negative. However, yes, I'm aware, like, you can't, like, maybe it's a cold, make it colder. So for me it's important in terms of colors, that when I want them in a picture, they express something. But in this way, time for me, it's kind of this unrealistic concept that we have it all the time. Like, right now there's time, but we don't see it. And make it in this way, for me, it's express this moment that I'm like, when I told you, like when I take a picture, for me, it's freezing that moment. So even though in this way it's the same, like I am freezing time, literally, with the clock. So basically, this moment was good to shoot that clock and understand that maybe we can capture some moments, even though they are good or bad.
Okay, but did you have any, like when creating this picture, did you have any ideas? What kind of feelings do you want people to have when they look at this picture?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I try to think on everything before take a picture, and that's why I don't take too many,
Okay.
because it takes a lot of time. But for example, in this case, I just wanted to express past, present, and future. So as a description, maybe I will read it at the end, or like in the beginning, I will record an audio or telling you what's the description of the picture. But basically, I appreciate the past because it brings me the present, and the present is bringing me the future. So it's like that. It's like just want to let you know that even though there are good or bad moments, it always gives you a message, even though a lesson. It always gives you a lesson. So sometimes, even in the darkest moment, there is some light. That is the one of the sentence that Angel in the first episode says, and it really hits me so freaking hard, because it's nice to have this perception, this positivity about it. So I just want to don't give it a bad or a good perception, just time, just memories, just lessons. So it's like that. That's something that I want to express, like, because we have this feeling that, oh, this is a good moment, this is a bad moment. Yes, they are good and bad moments, but also we don't, if it's a bad moment, for example, we don't really appreciate it. We just like try to avoid it, and we never learn from it. So that's something that I also wanted, like appreciate bad moments as well, even though it sounds bad. Appreciate them, because it gives you a lot of knowledge about life. And if it's good moment, also appreciate it. But now keep in mind that between these bad moments or good moments, there are also the opposite, like if it's good moments, something bad happen, and the opposite way.
Okay, I have several thoughts about it. First of all, I would like to gather people's opinion about this picture, and to compare what kind of thoughts they get when looking at it. Like whether it's more, I don't know, urgency, or I don't know, like more positive or more negative, or maybe some neutral. It would be like nice to know. And about time, what is time for you? Do you think people nowadays are spending their time wisely, or it's up to them? Like, what are your thoughts?
Time. Well, my opinion about time. Everybody is living their own time. I, unfortunately, even though we do it, we don't have the right to judge other people's time. However, I would like to say that for people nowadays, or people around me, I can notice that they are investing time in good things, like in regards of my friends, people that I loved. Most of them, they are spending time in good things. And for me, time is this thing that we always have it, but we don't know, or we are not aware of it. So nowadays, I consider that there is two extremes of the spectrum. Like there's a lot of people, amazing people, investing time in great things, and there is unfortunately, this other part of the spectrum that are people just living or wasting the time, just shitty things. Social media, for example, people really live thinking of those things, and which I don't understand, but well, it's their time. But I would like that people, and it's the reason why I create this podcast as well, because nowadays I think that people are living so in this constant fast world, like fast content. Like you watch a TikTok more than 20 seconds and it's like, oh my gosh, why you make this TikTok so freaking like long? And it's like, no, it's just 20 seconds. So I just, my perception about time nowadays is like, take it easy, slowly, enjoy every time, every moment, and try that every moment or time that you spend with someone else or even with you, that is also important, it must be quality time. Like it give you or provides you something, like for example today's, like, be quiet, enjoy the other person or whatever. So that's what I expect for the time that I'm spending in my life. What about you?
The time thing. The time is, for me, it's the resource, which is, well, the thing is, we don't know when our end will come. So like, we don't know whether we have a lot or not that much time. And I try to use it wisely, and to use it wisely on things that are important to me. But at the same time, sometimes, I also want to do those, like, just like to hang out, to do some things that may not be seen as super useful. So I'm trying to find the balance, because I understand the importance of investing my time in long-term things, that maybe it's like some, I don't know, courses, whatever, rather than to invest it in, and hard to say because I'm not playing games and I don't know what useless activity. Okay, rather than investing it in Netflix.
Okay.
But sometimes, another thing is, like, you never know, maybe while watching Netflix you will come up with some like fucking terrific idea that will change the whole world.
Yeah, you're right.
So it's like, but of course there should be balance, and you cannot be watching, like, let's say Netflix 10 hours a day or 5 hours a day. And
yeah, like, it reminds me, like, to this expression or this creativity thing in my case, for example, that I create content, and for me it's hard because I know that I'm not the constant person in social media. Like, I can upload a picture every 3 weeks, 1 month it could happen, and I never upload anything, just some stories like, hey guys, I'm here, like, I still alive, I still being a photographer. And it's hard for me because I also try to invest time studying, working, all these things, but well, I also want to have time, let's say. So it seems like we have this perception of time when we are working, when we are studying, we are not enjoying the time like we are doing, like for some people, let's say. But I would like to change this perception also in myself. Like, when you're working, like, oh my gosh, I'm working, I don't want to work, but I have to because I have to eat, let's say. So there is this thing, and I know that not all the people have the opportunity to work in things that they like. So that's other thing to consider, of course. So yeah, for me it's like, try to be, let's say, realistic with your time, and okay, I have this certain time to do this, don't spend it in anything else. Like, this feeling that we are wasting time when we are learning or whatever, so, or we stopped doing those things for other things that provides us satisfaction, faster satisfaction. Because I understand that the study maybe is not the funniest thing ever for some topics, but when you're studying, you are like just focus on it. But when you're watching TikToks, for example, you're just laughing and enjoying in certain way. So maybe it's the one of the reasons why people spend that too much time on these social media. Let's say this like constant dopamine in your brain, and I understand why they are addicted to it, because it's constant dopamine, and brain likes dopamine.
Okay, the thing is, I'm not watching TikToks. Like, there was the time, I think during COVID, I downloaded the program, I started watching it, and after 5 videos, I was like, girl, what are you doing with your life? Like, come on. And I deleted it. So for me, I have this feeling like that's enough. And like, I understand that I can invest my time in something that will be more, I don't know, will bring me something more in long term.
Sure.
So, and studying is the thing that will bring you something, because there are so many things in the world that we don't know. And for example, if we combine knowledge of different industries, let's say physics and architecture, and maybe, I don't know, like, let's say sales or whatever, and if you combine them, you can come up with such great solutions. So constant learning is something that is like super important in the world. And one thing is when the person is really super busy, and you understand that the person has a family to provide for, kids to take care of, and like they don't have time to study, or like to invest their time in something more. And another thing is, like, let's say this 25-year-old who decides to go to the club 3 times a week, not even 1 time a week, but 3 times a week, instead of investing the time into something that will be beneficial maybe in 2 years, maybe in 5 years,
or maybe for the entire life. I completely agree with you, and that's also one of the reasons why I take you here to the podcast, because I really admire your productivity. I mean, we are humans, like we're not perfect, and I understand that, but like, let's say that maybe what's the key for you to don't fall down in those things, in those banal things?
I would say probably it's the way my parents raised me. Like, I learned to be organized since my childhood, and like I remember like this timetables, like I had a plan of things I need to do today, and I had my goals set up for myself. Like, parents never pushed me, they gave me the choice, like, okay, you choose the things that you want to do, you choose the career you want to take, and so on. So I had this responsibility that whatever, like the place where I end at, it will be the result of the things I did. So I always know that if I want to get this one, I need to do these steps. So probably it's this thing. Another thing is understanding that nothing will come, like, energy is not coming from nowhere. You have like to put energy into something, and discipline is really important, like to do something consistently for a long period of time. And when you do it consistently, you start to see the results, and they motivate you, and you see how you progress, and like that. This works for me. But discipline is really important. There are days when you don't want to do anything, but you're like, well, you don't want to do anything, but here's your plan for today, and let's do it.
Okay, I got it. Actually, like that thing that you mentioned about like doing things today because it will be brings you something better in the future. It's something that I wanted to express in the picture, even though like it's not about productivity, let's say, the picture, but it's all about time, and time is the most valuable thing in earth or in life, let's say. So well, basically, something that I thought while I was doing the picture, it was like, okay, I am living right now, the present, but I'm really curious about what the stories I will be able to bring in the future. That's one of the things that I see in the description. And that thing that I wanted to do it, like right now in the present, is like live every day as it will be my last. Also provides me this energy or this motivation to be better in the future. Like I don't really care about the person who I am right now. Let's say I really care about the person that I will be in, let's say, 1 month, let's say 1 year, 10 years. So with that goal in mind, the person that I'm right now works.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if it makes sense in some way. Of course, I have to be like in the present as well, and it's also really important. So yeah, there is this thing that I thought what I was doing the picture, like I'm curious about the future, but also I'm curious about what I'm capable of. So the balance, I think, or the balance that I found here, that is something that I wanted to express here, because it's this kind of clock that you can hold in your pocket, these pocket clocks, that they are always balanced, you know. So they're going to the right, to the left, to the right, to the left, and always they finished in the center, right? So it means for me, or it's like this metaphor of, okay, I can see in the future to the right, and I can see to the back, the past, to be in the present. Okay, so I always have this thought, like I have to be aware also of my past, because I cannot forget where I come from, all the experiences that I went through. So yeah, it's like I like this feeling to also be proud of the person that I want to be, and the person that I am, and the person that I was.
Nice.
And something that I wanted to ask you, when I show you up the picture, you told me like, get ready because it will be a sad conversation. Why?
Like, because of the colors. They, like, when I saw it, I had this kind of feelings of like time flies fast. Maybe there are lost opportunities. Maybe there's something that I could have done differently and had a different outcome, which would be better. So I had those thoughts, and like always, like I'm always trying to think like whether I'm using my time wisely. And yeah, that's why like the first thought that I had was like kind of not negative, but a bit of like, huh?
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
Okay, but does it brings you any negative thought, or?
I would not say it brings me negative thoughts. It's more like urgency that it brings me, but at the same time I cannot say it brings me positive thoughts.
Like just neutral.
Like, yeah, like neutral and a bit of like nervousness, something like, yeah.
Okay. Does it give you like time anxiety, or?
Can be.
So how how you handle it, like, because I think nowadays also is something that worry, like it's really not bothers me, but is this thing that young people from around our age, they are like, oh, it brings me anxiety time, I don't know what to do, I don't know, like, bro,
really.
but yeah, this thing that, and I understand it, but if you don't make the first step, what are you expecting to? So how you handle with this, like, maybe how you work with anxiety in terms of, okay, I have to this, but I don't know. I'm not sure what's gonna happen. Like, even though you work freaking hard for your things, there is no guarantee that it.
Sure.
So,
First of all, you have to understand that, for example, when you finish university and you have like many aspirations, like I want to do this, I want to try this career, you have to understand that there are things that don't depend on you, and the things may go not the way you expected. And just, I know there are many opportunities out there for young people, but sometimes it may look like everyone has it figured out, like everything, like everyone knows what he wants to do.
nobody knows.
Nobody knows, but it looks as if, like, especially if you like listen to some I don't know, successful people, it looks like they knew how to get there, like they had an ideally written plan and so on. And even like some other people who are older than you and who have, let's say, a good position and like a family, whatever, like everything looks fine. You think like, damn, like they knew how to do it. And you ask them and they're like, it just happened this way. I was so freaked out when I like finished university and so on. Nobody fucking knows what to do, but the most important thing is to start doing something.
Exactly.
You start doing something, and like, let's say you find your first job, and maybe it's not like you find a job in sales, you try it and you're like, no, it's not what I want to do. You go to marketing. No, you go to, I don't know, operations, and you're like, okay. And then you start like learning more things in that field. And yeah, you need to try constant trying.
I mean, yes, I mean, of course I am aware also that there is not the same opportunities for everybody.
Sure.
And I'm completely aware of that. So I also don't like this message what some people give, like, come on, try it, work really hard because you're gonna achieve it. Yes and no. Like, or spend time on this and you will achieve this. We have to like wake up from this dreamy message. Also, maybe because I'm realistic, let's say, I will say that I'm not optimistic. I will say I'm realistic, and I prefer take things like with or before making a decision, like make sure that there is like at least more than 70% of okay, it's like it's achievable. However, also I invite people to try things, as you said. Also, not because you will be able or you will achieve them, but in that way you will be able to, okay, at least I try to be, I don't know, a fireman or a fireman, or I try to be a police, I try to be a doctor, a scientist, whatever you want to be. Why? Like, even though it's not profit business, even though it's, and I understand money is important as well, but now we at least have this opportunity and we have access with these sheets that we have in our hands, on our pockets every day. Like, you have access to the whole knowledge.
Yeah.
And you can search whatever you want. If you want to learn something, you can search it, even though it's hard. Learn from your own methods. Try it, or find a way. Books, libraries, like we forget also those things.
Yeah.
Like libraries, you have a lot of knowledge there. People, you go to those places nowadays and they are empty.
Yeah, because there are also lots of online libraries, and it depends, because some people are actually using libraries not just to go there and like check the book, but you know, like the place to come with their laptop and to work in silent, like in this silent place.
Okay, yeah, well, maybe I'm thinking right now that we have a different perception.
Okay.
Maybe it's because the country that I come from,
Can be.
because, well, as far as I'm telling you, and you know that I'm not the book guy.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer 100% movies, but it's because my life is in cinematic or videos, photos, whatever thing. But the few opportunities that I went to the library, maybe in Bogota, they were empty, and it's sad. Like there are people there, of course, but not as much as it could be. And you go to the club, and it's completely full.
Well, it's a different thing. For example, I like reading books, but I have my Kindle. And
Mhm.
I would say it's the best investment I had. I bought it in 2016.
Mhm.
Like I'm taking, if I'm going to travel, I'm taking it with me. It's small and it contains lots of books.
Sure,
So
sure.
it's like an amazing thing. So in this case, I don't need to go to the library.
Hmm. But yeah, I'm not talking like not only going to the library. It's
Mhm.
like people spending time studying, let's say, or investing time in good things. For example, I'm completely sure that if we go downtown and we ask a guy, whoever, a random guy, like most of them, they will tell us like, what are you gonna do today? What they're gonna say? Club, friends, or whatever. And it's, for me, sometimes it's sad because you don't realize the time that you lose or you spent on until you lose the opportunity. So, oh, if I just spent in the past more time on this,
Mhm.
studying this, or if I just didn't went to that club that night, I probably approved the exam or whatever. So for me nowadays, people are not. My perception now, like
Mhm.
seriously, is that must, like, let's say, to be optimistic, 60 or 70% of population are not spending time in the right way. Just a few of them are like trying to be a better or try to invest time in good things.
Mhm.
But well, like, who are we to judge them?
Yeah.
But yeah, like, something that I also wanted to ask you, it's you've been in different countries studying, learning cultures, languages as well, and how the perception of world change depending on the country. Like, is do you think, or you can tell that at least we have something in common, like things in common, or the perception from the east, like China, for example, as is your case, and Ukraine, does it change that much to the Occident
In terms of time.
in time, or how people spend time, how people professions as well,
Mhm.
like what changed, or is like quite similar?
Well, if we are comparing with China, it's completely different because due to the fact that the population is super big, they have competition, and people are studying a lot till 12 a.m. in order to get to the university, to one of the best universities that will open the door to a good profession. So even the day when they are having the exam to get to university, like to pass, like exam is for several hours because it's like it includes several subjects, and even the planes are not flying on that day. It's so much important. So like the government makes it possible for the kids to fully focus on the exam because the exam actually determines their future. So I would say Chinese people are working really a lot, and it's great to see, and they are smart. They are like, it's super motivational. Like, let's say on Saturday or Sunday you come, like let's say in the morning, maybe like something like 10 a.m 11 a.m, you come to a Starbucks with a laptop to do something, and
Everybody is doing something.
Like some people are doing something, other are discussing some business idea or something, and it's so motivational. Like you want to work, you're like, okay, like they're discussing this one, those people are working on that project. Oh, I also want to do something important. Like this great atmosphere makes you like want to improve together. You're looking at them, you look up to them, and like, wow, I also want to be like that. It's not like in some countries, maybe in Spain, or I don't know, it's not that I went to that many places in Ukraine because I usually was studying at home, but here it's like more friends are meeting together, just like chatting and so on. There's like, you don't feel as if like they're discussing some business cases.
Absolutely
And the
not.
atmosphere is like chill, and you're like also like want to chill. So for me, it's much better if I want to focus and to work on something. It's much better to stay at home, or maybe to come to a cafe that is not super crowded, so I have like space for myself.
Sure.
Rather than so those things.
Okay. Yeah, I understand. I completely admire all those guys. And I would like to have that discipline. I wouldn't say that I don't have it, but I am also this person. Maybe also the way that I try to get motivation or inspiration, let's say, it's quite different because I have to live things to express things, you know? So, but I also, for me, I'm not sure if I'm the only one, but working that hard, like when we like look at that thing in third person, like, okay, I completely understand that they are spending time on this exam because it's their future and wow. But at the end, did you feel satisfied with it? Like, even though like you're not there, maybe yes, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're there because everybody's there, or you're fighting in that race
because of competition.
Yeah.
But you understand that you have to suffer for several years now in order to have a good job later, a job that will provide you for several decades.
Yes and no. Like, I understand that, and I completely agree with you. I'm not saying that like let's hang out everybody. But also, let's say, because my culture, like we are like always having this fun on weekend, or at least one day or 2 days or maybe 3, but our culture, Occidental culture, is completely different. That Asian culture is, I can tell. So there is this thing that for me, like, not nerd, but where is social life in that? Like, for me, connect with people, even though they are talking about business, but are they talking about themselves, or everybody's taking care of themselves? For me, it is hard to find a balance there, because if nowadays with that competition, if I want to compete with an Asian guy, for me it will be harder, because I have this lifestyle that I like to travel. I like to even though I cannot that much, but I try to, like, or even though not travel, but let's say find new places, find spots for pictures, working in my projects, and I have this freedom, like getting outside and just enjoying, and I feel that also I'm learning. But I also think, like, okay, do I want to spend 12 hours like in a book writing? Do I want that? Like, if, like, maybe when I'm older, I just like, okay, yes, I learned a lot of things, but did I enjoy this? Like, Earth, I'm not sure.
It's so different, because basically when I was at university in Kyiv studying Chinese, I remember that the first 2 years it was like 10 hours. Like you come from university, you have lunch, and then you study till the end of the day. And let's say basically it was just Chinese, like 10 hours or like 7 hours you study Chinese, and then some other subjects that you have. So I knew that I have to spend time, to sacrifice time for now, so that I will have the things that I want to have. So it was okay for me. And I don't know, like, yeah, I remember there were moments when I also wanted. So imagine, one thing is when you study and it's like autumn or winter and you're like, okay, I can start it. Another thing is like when it's spring, everything is blooming, you are in a new city alone, you want to go out, but you're like, I have Chinese characters to learn.
Okay.
I have a text to learn. But then you understand that you have a certain image. You don't want to be the one who cannot keep up with the progress, cannot keep up with the classes. And you want to improve. You don't want to be behind. So, yeah. So on the one hand, I would say I sacrificed my time. That's, like during those years. And it was like, if you think about it, I would say maybe 3 years. 3 years out of 4, because the last one, it was easier. I was even able to combine it with a job. But the 3 years I sacrificed, but then I got much more. Yeah, I got the opportunity to go to China, to learn, to spend there 4 years, to learn a different culture. And now if I want to work with Chinese, I have this skill, I can work. So it doesn't look useless for me.
Yeah. You receive what you study for.
Yeah.
Great.
And in this case, like you can be studying Chinese, you can be still spending hours, like spending your time on studying it, but you're kind of not putting all your efforts. You're not studying till like really 100 or like, let's say 98%. And then in the end, you may end up with a result that is not that good.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. When I'm doing something, I'm always trying to do it 100%. So if in the end I don't get the result that I expected, I would say like, well, at least I know, like truly, that I did 100% I could.
Sure.
And then there may be other circumstances.
Yeah. It's also it's quite similar for me, because my parents, and they really put this thing on me. Like, unfortunately for me, I had the opportunity or the freedom to choose. Like, they always let me choose like what you want to be. And I really appreciate from them, because they told me like, okay, you want to be photographer. Okay, they broke their heart, and I know that, because I know it's not the best profession to earn money. However, like, something that I really appreciate from them, like, sure, you can be, but if you will be, you have to be the best one. Like, no matter what. If you already choose this, if you like it, feel it, do it. And if it's 100% is that small amount of effort, to give me your 200. And it's also, I like it because I have this perception or this will. I want to eat the world, like, and you guys see me as well sometimes, like, oh, but this guy is making a podcast, oh, but this is working in another project, and this is taking picture, what the hell he's doing. And it's hard for me because I want to take everything, which also sometimes the bill is expensive for me, in terms of, yes, I don't have the mind for everything, and I put too much pressure on myself, because sometimes when I don't have this way to find the idea or the correct way to express myself, I feel frustrated. But well, I tried, you know, and even though it's not the best podcast, even though it's not that constant, because it's not constant, not because I'm not working on it. Like my mind is like, okay, all the day working, thinking on it, thinking on the project, thinking on this, and also I have to combine it with my job that give me to it. So I sometimes get burned out of ideas, in terms that maybe for me, my brain works like try to relax a little bit, and the idea will come out in any moment, like in the bathroom, in cooking, being watching a movie or whatever. So sometimes I had to find a balance, because sometimes when I am into the like when I am in the mood to put 200%, at the end it's not that healthy for me, because even though I'm giving my 200%, the result, it's not as I want, or my expectations are like super high. So I have to put the foot in the air, and say, okay, yeah, I'm capable of this, but I have to be aware that the result won't be like an Oscar. I won't receive an Oscar for this, and I have this feeling like these two opposite sides. Like, okay, my idea is like freaking awesome, but this is my progress. So how to be there? And I try to find a way, and it's hard. And I say, okay, maybe it's an unrealistic idea. Let's put it like be like downstairs a little bit, and then I realize, okay, this is a good idea. Once I be there, if I have, or I finally achieve there, maybe the next idea that I will have will be in this level. So like this little progress, but it's hard for me. So maybe that I like this giving 200%, but sometimes doesn't work, sometimes works. So I don't know.
Yeah, because your field is completely different. So if for my field, I can kind of build some plan for my progress. For example, if I want to get a promotion, I can write down the skills that I need to get, like the results that I need to achieve, and so on. And I will see them, and like we'll work on those, and hopefully get a promotion. But for you, you cannot just write like, I want to create this one, like, because you need ideas.
Exactly.
And you cannot control them. And usually ideas come when the mind is relaxed. So you have to kind of accommodate some knowledge, like maybe from different fields or something, and then to relax, whatever relaxation is for you, like going for a walk, cooking.
Yeah, like maybe it's because this thing of creating things is not like you don't know where you're going. Like the way is like, okay, I can see like the wall. I can
but
see
how together?
how the fuck I can get there. If I want to achieve this, like I need this, but I also can't have like there are too many ways. So it's not like there is this millionaire idea or this movie, because even though it's the best movie, maybe it's not in the right moment.
Yeah, it can be.
So well, I try to enjoy the process, even though it's hard, even though it's with a lot of obstacles, let's say. But well, like come back into the topic, the main topic, like time.
But I have another thing to
Sure,
ask.
tell me.
So, like, you have many projects. For me, if I had many projects, I would be very stressed out, because I would want to kind of dedicate time to each project. Let's say to post one picture on like Insta, create one video there, like do some project there, and so on. And don't you think, like, for example, or maybe it depends on the person, but for me it's more like it's easier to have, let's say, one or two priorities and to fully focus on them and to see the progress, like, you know, like every week or something, rather than have several of them. And like, I don't know, like when I don't have this structure, I feel stressed out. I'm like, no, I need to have a plan how to like move.
Okay, yes and no. Like my answer is always yes. It's like this, like yes and no. Yes, I understand, and I would like to have just one project, but my brain is like, hey, can you make a short film? Hey, can you make a podcast? And it's hard for me because it's like I always listen to this little voice in my head, like, what if we just go and film a podcast in the mountain, and or what if we just start a new project, or do you remember this movie, can we take a picture like this? So my brain is, let's say, not a third person because I don't want to sound like a psychopath or schizophrenic or whatever. But maybe it's just this intranquility. Is that right? No, like my brain is like too diverse, and I can focus my skills or my thoughts in different ways. So
Okay.
yeah, what?
But okay, you can focus it in different ways on different projects. But let's say, if don't you feel like stressed out when you, for example, you do 2 projects this week, and the 3 other projects are like you didn't do anything there, and you're like, oh my gosh, next week I have to do something with those projects, and if next week you again, yeah, because of time or something, don't you feel like stressed out, like, oh my gosh, I need
Yes, but it's also keep me up, like it always, like I have this pending thing. So I know that I cannot die today because I have this thing pending.
Yeah.
And maybe it's not a structural thing. I know, I'm aware of that, because everybody that at least follow or know my work in some terms can tell that it's like, but this guy wasn't doing a short film, and now he upload a picture, or he say that he's in a podcast. But it keeps me up, like it keeps me motivated and keeps me breathing of art. Like thanks to art, or thanks to the whole time that I spent time on this, I feel alive. Because I always tell it that I will be keep telling until I die. It's like art for me, and I feel really fortunate about it. Like art or expressing myself provides me like too many memories, or brings me this satisfaction of, wow, I just put an idea and it's floating everywhere on the internet, and maybe someday a guy or someone in the universe will see it and, wow, this guy know what he's talking about, and it's worth it for me. Like put that much effort on it. It gives me this satisfaction in life, like, oh, thanks God I'm a photographer, or I can express myself in this way, or thanks God I finally was able to find the right profession for me. So I feel fortunate because of that, because I tried a couple of things before being photographer, but I find this profession really quick in life. Like I knew that I wanted to be an artist since I was like 10 or 12.
You're a fortunate person. Like you sound like a person who had it figured out, like I knew I want to be a photographer like since I was 5 years old.
No. Yes and no. But yeah, let's say that I'm fortunate. But also the thing that I wanted, it's also this feeling that like maybe I'm not sure what I want to be in 10 years. I'm sure like I have my goals clear, and I am aware of, or I want to spend time on these certain things. Nevertheless, it's like I'm happy right now living the time that I'm living, because I have the opportunity to do this, like interactions, meet people, And it also, I knew that, or I'm aware of, after this podcast and after every episode, like with Martina or with Angel, it was like this satisfaction, like, wow, I'm understanding, or I can see other person perception of universe, and it also brings me too many ideas. So maybe I take too long to start this episode, even though we've been planning it, or we mentioned it like a long time ago, because I was waiting for the right time, in terms of I wasn't not feeling it, but I was like expecting that something happened, and it's what basically was that I start the Warm project. That is also another project that I'm working on, and it's about not time but these little details in life. And I wanted to have this knowledge from you in terms of time, because you've been spending, or your productivity is quite like, you have a good system, or you are accustomed to this productivity lifestyle. And this project is about little things that you spend time on that are not important, or brings you this satisfaction, but are maybe not meaningless because they mean a lot. But let's say that it brings you present. So
Walks. I like to walk.
walk.
I like to walk, and usually it's either like I'm listening to music or listening to a podcast, walking, seeing the nature, seeing people, their face expressions, thinking like what is happening in their life, like seeing like different reactions, seeing the buildings, like all these things. Like I feel like great. I start to feel grateful about the place where I'm in, and that I have this opportunity, that I have the opportunity to have this walk and to enjoy, because some people cannot walk and so on, and cannot see, and there are some things that we just take as granted and don't appreciate enough, but they mean a whole universe. They are so freaking important, and they bring a lot of satisfaction. So I love those things. They help me. Like I like to spend time with myself, to kind of think about my stuff, about my life, like whether I'm satisfied, what I want to focus on, and the walks help me to do that.
Okay, perfect. So, well, it's almost time. You see that it wasn't that hard to talk
Not at
for
all.
one
Yeah.
for 1 hour. It's almost 1 hour.
Yeah.
Well, just to conclude the conversation and regarding to the picture that brings us here. Well, at the end, guys, I will be reading the description. I've been thinking while you were talking, like I will give it to you guys. The description of the picture is in Spanish. I will translate it later.
Okay.
But I want to ask you, not maybe an advice, but something that you can tell to the world. Like it sounds like this interview. Like, are you the president? No. But
I feel like I'm 50.
but no, I didn't mean it. It's like something like maybe whoever is watching this thing at the end, like maybe about time, what you have to say about it, like spend time and advice or whatever you have to say.
Okay, I would say take responsibility of your life, and what you do today will affect who you are tomorrow. So invest your time in the things that you think will be of the highest utility for you. And of course, like there should be some time to rest, to enjoy, but just find the balance that is okay for you. For some people it can be 80% of like really useful time and 20% of like fun time. For other people, like it can be 50-50 or whatever. Like find your balance, but it's really nice to be always learning new things, progressing in whatever, like sports, job, whatever you have. Just like small step, one step at a time, and like in a year you will be much higher than you are today.
Wow. Okay. Nothing much, Alona Yaroshenko.
Thank you so much for having me here. It was a pleasure to talk to you and to learn your outlook.
Thank you. Okay, so, bueno, parceros, a little bit Spanish, if you allow me.
Sure.
Parceros, pues yo creo que fue muy bonito, todo fue muy, muy bonito el escuchar otra percepción de una persona que tiene algo que decir. Y nada, pues les voy a leer rápidamente lo que viene a ser la descripción de la foto, porque realmente sí que se las quiero compartir. Y pues nada, yo creo que ya con esto finalizando el podcast, nuevamente agradecerles un montón por todo el apoyo, porque sí que he visto mucho apoyo y pues aprecio un montón eso. Así que ahí les va. Ha pasado tanto tiempo desde la última vez que vi un reloj que se me olvidó que vivo en el presente, que no puedo cambiar el pasado y que sí puedo cambiar el futuro. Lo más importante es que tengo aún el tiempo de contar las historias que no he vivido. Y eso fue hace un par de añitos, 2020. Y pues no creo que haya cambiado algo de eso. Yo creo que sigo siendo la persona curiosa y quiero que sigan en sus proyectos, en lo que sea que estén, como dijo Alona, deportes, en lo que estén, pero háganlo con berraquera y verá que les va bonito. Y nada, pues chaito y nos vemos en otro episodio.